Welcome to my workshop. Let's discover what tools teach us about life. Take a look at this happy little tool. This is the Dewalt 2-piece Nutsetter impact driver bit set. That's a mouthful. I'll get that in focus. So basically what this is another version of a flip socket by Dewalt, and they come with these impact rated holders, right? So you can flip the socket each way. And first, let's show the jiggle test of each side. So a little jiggly there. Sorry. More jiggly on this side. So I've noticed that all of these flip sockets, well, this one doesn't jiggle, but a lot of these flip sockets have a little bit of jiggle in them that makes them feel a little unsecure. This one actually is pretty secure. This one's pretty good. Let's say I want to use it here. Now I'm just going to use it with the Klein handle from our last video here, and just to show you that, you know, it secures and holds these guys pretty easily, and it has pretty strong magnetic hold. I would say about the same as the Klein. Okay. And actually, it's really securely on there. I don't see these guys falling off at all. So let's drive that guy all the way in. And then just for fun here, we'll do one more. We'll do the 3/8, just so you can see it being used and how well this one's magnet holds. So holds pretty well. Now, as I said earlier, you will notice that I kind of modified mine here, and that's so that I can fit different screwdrivers with both. Let's put that handle away for now. And of course, this is impact rated, so you can see that, and I can, you know, so, you know, there you go. What more do you want to see of that? It's a drill. You know, we can do our little banana for scale. They're tiny. The socket with the bit adapter piece on is about 2 2¼ inches, I would say. A little 2 1/8 inch. So they're pretty small. Now, unlike the Kleins, these don't actually have the kind of the bit adapter, what do you want to call it there? The bit adapter feature, okay? Now you can kind of make it work, but it doesn't really want to stay in there very well. Actually, that's not too bad, but it's a lot of hard work. Where these guys fall short is that they're not color-coded. So I mean, it's pretty easy to see which ones are bigger, of course, but at the end of the day, you have to read them, and you know, I worry about the longevity of these marks staying on. You know, over time, if they get rubbed off, it might be a little hard to tell which size is which. Especially maybe you haven't used them in a while. Maybe you're buying these to save some space in your toolbox. And, you know, sockets aren't something that you use too often. So, yeah. What we can do here to solve that is, you know, it would be nice if Dewalt color-coded them, but they didn't. But from our previous review, we know that Klein has their flip sockets, and they are color-coded. So, I mean, you can see here on the Klein ones, that 5/16 is already rubbing off, right? So, when these guys rub off, it's only a matter of time. So, yeah, so by the way, size comparison with our banana. There we go. So what we can actually do here is take these guys off, and they actually work on this pretty well. Now, I'm curious because I haven't tried it here. Let's see how they work on here. So actually, that works pretty good. Now, it feels a little bit weaker. Yeah, see, it's not as good because this is all the way down in there. And you can see that there's more depth to the magnet with the Klein Flip Socket on than there is here. But it does work. It does hold our bit. Now let's see how the other side works. Now again, it is holding it, but the strength of the hold is pretty weak because again, the depth, you wanna, I mean, these really hold in there, but the depth on the Klein bit using the Dewalt adapter is greater, right? So the screw isn't going to fully seat. I don't know if I can show that. Unfortunately, I can't show that. I mean, it is going to hold well enough to get the screw in there. Let's see here. Let's try to make a new one. Yeah. So, you know what? I mean, it works well enough. I don't know. That's a hot screw now. It could be stronger, but it does work. And the nice thing about this here, we're done with that. The nice thing about this here is that because this is designed to be able to have this feature, you can actually push it up and it actually seats really well. This makes a really strong bit driver. You can try a different bit here. And then when it comes to using the magnet on these guys, it's, as you can see, not as strong. So that's unfortunate that the magnet isn't transferring as much through there. Yeah, that's too bad. But that being said, yeah, they're not going to be on as well through here. But it does work as a bit driver. It just doesn't have that, let's call it, magnetic touch. If we put this guy back on here, just for a comparison, get it into the bit driver setting. So that does pick up, which leads me to believe that even though, by the way, this is pretty easy to clean these magnets off when, when the nut drivers are off. But it leads me to believe that somehow, even though this magnet is bigger, it's not as strong as the Klein magnets, which is pretty cool. I'm curious here how these go on. They don't. They don't, which, you know, we could have figured because of that, those ribs right there, but it doesn't go on. Still though, one of the great reasons I love using this adapter, and you can tell I like using it because I spent the time to modify it so I can fit it on some of my screwdrivers that don't really take kindly to that kind of a impact driver type mechanism. But one of the nice things about it is its length. You know, if we look here, that is 4 1/8 of an inch. And this, as we've already measured, is about 2 inches. Oh, magnets. And this is about 2 inches. Well, magnets are going to do what magnets are going to do. There we go. And that's about 2 inches. by the way, I haven't even showed you. The other ones fit just fine. Now that being said, that magnet, there's no way that magnet's gonna work on the 3/8. It's just too far away. But you know what? Let's try it. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, see, it fell off immediately. So they do work, but yeah, it's the magnet function is not going to really work very well when they're on here. But it might work for this guy, because if you push them all the way through, it almost goes to the edge there. This one, there's no way that magnet's working. Generally speaking, I think it's nice that you can combine both of those, but there are trade-offs. You know, if over time you don't want to buy a new set of these and these numbers are rubbing off, you have the color-coded Kleins, and they can even do sizes that you don't have in here. Like you have 7/16. That's great. But you don't have 1/2 inch. Where is it here? Yeah, you don't have 1/2 inch. You don't have 3/8, 11/32. So it's nice that if you want to stick with the Dewalt smaller ones, the Kleins will fit. And it's nice that there's another option besides what Klein is offering, because frankly, some of these don't stay on very well. Like look at this guy, just kind of slides in and out of there, and it's supposed to, you can hear the click. Hear that click? It's supposed to stay in those little tiny detents, but it doesn't. But then we have the 3/8 and 11/32 ones, and that guy, like, it's solid. So it's nice that we can combine these things, and it's nice that we kind of have like little solutions to our problems that arise over time. You know, if these letters are to come off, or if we do want to be able to use our nut driver in the way the Klein one is, and just kind of use the other socket, we have a solution to that. And then because we have a solution to that, that works really good, it just kind of goes to show me that, you know, just because we have problems in our life doesn't mean that you should give up. You can find solutions to your problems if you look for them. And sometimes you just have to, you know, sometimes you just have to look for a long time, but there's solutions there. And oftentimes we find the solution hidden in plain sight. So don't give up. I believe in you. And thanks for coming to my workshop.